Here comes Kevin O'Connell, head coach of the 2-0 Minnesota Vikings, 2-0 in the NFC also. And Kevin's nice enough to join us at Twin Cities Orthopedics Performance Center and the TCO Radio Studios, part of the Vikings Entertainment Network, each and every Tuesday at 11 o'clock. I saw your father pregame. He seemed a bit nervous. He was like, I hope we win this one. And I said to him, well, I hope your son has a little more confidence with it today because the 49ers haven't won here since 1992. And he said, we'll be okay. And then you went out there and put on a good show.
I told him, I said, don't you even come to the stadium if you're trying to use hope as a strategy, Bill O'Connell. You know, Dave Corus and the security group, they were ready to escort him out the second they didn't feel confidence from old Bill. But, no, he's been the same way since I was about 8 years old, you know, no matter what I was playing.
Yeah.
Now coaching, it's the same old for him. Absolutely love having him here.
He probably was chewing his fingernails on the sideline at Boyd Stadium off the strip as
I was trying to throw the ball through 35-mile-an-hour winds. I think I completed about 4 passes that day. So he definitely has reason, especially when I was in between the white lines, to show up to the game nervous. I can tell you that.
You pulled off the Nailor trick again. I don't know as much about it as you do, and quite honestly never will. But only this time he coyly motioned inside the tight end, and Ward bit hard. Jalen was big Sunday, wasn't he?
Yeah, I thought he was huge. And it wasn't just PA. It wasn't just the routes he caught the ball on. Mm-hmm. There were some other really, I thought, even the first third down where we didn't convert. Our first trip down to the red zone, ran a great route. They were playing 11 double Jefferson, shocker, and he ends up with running a route versus man coverage and was wide open in the back of the end zone. Just a little timing, a little push in the pocket, kind of threw that off for Sam, and the defender from covering another player. Actually, one of the double players for Justin fell off and kind of got back in the play. That particular play that he did score on, he just did an unbelievable job. So we're really trying to sequence up and make that look and really feel like a running play. Even how he short motioned down in there almost was the feeling you get sometimes of that gray area for a receiver shorting down to block that safety. Wasn't really a pre-rotated defense. He kind of had to bait that safety into coming down, and when he did, then he continued his motion on in between the tight end and Brian O'Neill right there, which then now they're in man coverage. They're trying to figure out, okay, we lock in this thing. The second they decided to lock it, that put really Ward as the C-gap defender right there, which we had run enough duos and different runs where we were bouncing the ball out on that corner, putting him in a total conflict. So I knew the next time we got in that area to run that play, I knew that was going to be coming up. I did not know it would come off of Josh Metellus, with a fantastic interception right there. So it was really, really well executed. Loved the protection. Great sell by Sam on the fake and, made it look probably a lot easier to everybody watching the game than it actually is. A lot of detail goes into that stuff.
I mean, that was an elongated, brilliant, detail-oriented answer. And we all love it, listening to KFAN, watching at Vikings.com.
Not too elongated, though.
No,
I'm trying to work on that.
Well, you can talk with Extrament or Jeff about that later.
That's
we
right.
happen to love your long answers here on radio. Okay, so you can be as long-winded as you want. I would prefer to lay it out as you pulled the Nailor trick off again with the fake run or whatever he did, and there was a mark. You found the mark, and it worked. It was just beautiful.
Yeah.
Cordell flawed into whatever. But, all right, so here's what I love, all right, about Jalen, all right, because this goes back to, like, when we were talking organized team activities, then through training camp, then, we're doing the simulcast during training camp, starting with the Raiders, and with Bursich and or Lieber, I'm kind of like, wow, I mean, Kevin's opening things up here in preseason a little bit, some different type of plays. I don't know what the plays are, but they were longer than like your first year or two in preseason. And Nailor, and then you said in one of the pregame interviews with me, we're going to feature Nailor today.
Yep.
Well, so all right, so he's healthy, and then Addison gets the ankle at Cleveland, and then the other ankle against the Giants. So now the guy you featured, you're raising, the one I know you're fond of, the one who's gifted, and now the one who's put in a spot and the one who comes through.
Yeah.
Those are just awesome stories that you just don't see a ton, at least I don't, in my course of the NFL.
Yeah, I think the first point you made, PA, is he's healthy. And there has not been one. I can remember Jalen Nailor's rookie minicamp when he was out there, and we're just like, man, like we knew this guy had talent, but holy cow, he's going to be able to help us. And then there just seemed to be one little stumbling block out in front of him after the next, and he's just consistently put it all together. He's had a great, complete process of the spring training camp. Even getting the ankle late in training camp, you thought, okay, is this going to derail his momentum right now? And he works his way back. Was not even 100% for that opener versus the Giants, but declared that he wanted to go, and he went out there and had a huge impact. And now he's got momentum on his side. He's got confidence on his side. But I can tell you the confidence from me has never wavered. I just knew we just needed to have him available for him to have the impact he's had.
You love when I say things like, and you opened it up a little more than usual in the preseason, right? Because I have no idea what I'm talking about. I'm just the announcer watching the plays thinking, hey, wow, Jaron didn't get any play action or any boots in these spots last time, but he did here. And somebody, okay, anyway, 3-2. Kevin O'Connell, coach of the Minnesota Vikings, each and every Tuesday, 9 to noon. Well, to land the plane with Nailor. So you had one of the biggest plays of the game was that 3rd and 8 late.
Yep. And
just how you drew it up. You got Sherfield here, Brandon Powell there, Johnny Munn here, Jalen Nailor there, and your tailback C.J. Ham. And it big grab by Nailor.
Yep.
Because Darnold found him, was not afraid to go to him. It was a little low, or either that or Nailor went a little far, but he brought it in for a massive third down conversion.
Yeah, and really Sam's placing that ball on a route where Jalen's actually reading coverage. So that route would look completely different if the coverage declared differently, whether it was man-to-man or single high zone, fire zone, whatever it could have been. So he's reading that route, making a really smart read on coverage, because they did try to, we call it 22 mask. It basically means they try to present all their man matchups, and then they play two deep zone out of that look. Brian Flores does that often with our defense, and we've seen it have a real negative effect on opposing quarterbacks, just the extra confusion, hold it one click longer, can the rush get home? And what I loved about that play was really the decisiveness of Jalen and Sam kind of working together. What I mean by that is Speedy reads that coverage, puts his foot in the ground, and hits the gas north. And then Sam, feeling his body language, being as decisive as it was, he's able to now kind of place that ball on the back hip of Jalen away from the defender, and high enough to get out over any underneath coverage. It ended up having, we had about 3 people on Bosa on the backside on the play just to ensure it. And the best part about that whole sequence, PA, that whole almost 7-minute drive, is there was literally Keenan McCardell piecing together who was going to be, and I was calling for, hey, I need Speedy to be the X on this play. Okay, Speedy's the Z. Sam, tell Speedy he's the Z here. Hey, Speedy's the F here.
Wow.
And Sherfield, Tristan Jackson, and BP kind of just playing musical chairs and still making an impact catching the football. BP had a huge conversion, nice little pick play versus man-to-man. Just the execution when we had to have it, because they had clearly coming off of, Aaron. We have a very unfortunate play. We should be in the end zone celebrating. Ball comes out, all-pro makes a play, Fred Warner, and then they go 99 the other way, pretty methodically, kind of taking the air out of U.S. Bank Stadium there for a little bit. There's a little feeling of uneasiness. It's not just our fans. We're feeling like, hey, it's the NFC champions, and we just allowed them back in the game. We got to go make a drive happen. We got to go make some plays. We don't have Justin. We don't have Jordan. We don't have TJ. We're about to come to life. The quarterback's going to make some plays. My confidence was high as long as the execution was there, and it was, and I was pretty darn excited about it.
Oh, we were happy the air was taken out. I mean, after you had the air condition, after it was so steamy. And, Trent Williams, last time we saw Trent Williams was Monday Night Football. He was walking to the locker room for an IV.
That's right.
Okay, so big people get tired, and it was hot in there, man.
It may have gone into, our decision to have the doors open, there in the end zone. It may or may not. I cannot confirm that.
I understand.
But I know, I talked to Dexter Lawrence a long time after the first game, because I always like talking to the real elite players that we play against, and just, it's awesome for me to get that immediate feedback. Let them know how much respect I have for them, and the hours upon hours I did not sleep preparing for players like a Dexter Lawrence, Nick Bosa, all the guys
Brett
that
Warner.
you can go Warner, you can keep on going, Ward with their defense, Leonard Floyd. But I talked to Bosa after the game, and he had that same look on his eye last year, and he doesn't like when we go fast. He likes to, the great players in our league play really hard on every single snap. And they've got a decision to make when we use tempo. Are you going to stay in the game and keep playing to your same standard? And normally the answer is yes. Or are you going to go out for one or two plays? And if that happens, we would like to keep them over on the sideline as long as possible. So the doors being open may have had something to do with that.
Yeah, and big people get tired. What'd you like about Chandler's game? And because you will talk about quarterbacks mostly, about a quiet mind. I'm not getting too far out of my lane here and trying to be Vince Lombardi and have you roll your eyes at me again. But he's playing with a quiet mind, isn't he? He's comfortable.
Yeah, I'm glad you asked about Ty. In a game that we saw a lot of play, 97-yard touchdown, and Sam making some big-time plays. But what I liked the most about Ty's performance is he understands that we're going to really try to feature Aaron Jones. He understands we're going to try to feature different aspects of our offense, but Ty has a huge role, explosive, power. He's got great vision. I thought he had some great reads, when to bounce, when to hit it up inside, when to get north and south, running through tackles. Loved the wide zone we ran late in the game, kind of down towards the end zone where he ends up one-on-one with the corner with about 3-4 yards to go to get the first down, and he ends up getting the first down by about 5 yards and staying in bounds. Would have loved for him to stay in bounds. When we attempted a little bit of a trick play there, but Ty
was going to throw it, wasn't he?
And you know what? It was totally on me because I had talked to the officials before the game about that play, but I needed to remind them in the moment because that's pass interference when it doesn't need to just be the quarterback that is throwing the football to elicit a pass interference penalty. So as Johnny Munt was trying to kind of sneak his way through there and should have been standing by himself, Nailor-like in the right corner of the end zone to kind of put a bow on it for the day. Defender at the last minute kind of sniffs it out and just kind of gets a flipper out there on Johnny, throws his momentum off, and then the whole play is pretty much done from there. But, aggressive play call for sure. We did want Ty to stay in bounds if he didn't make the throw. I thought he did a great job making a good decision, getting north for any positive yards we could get. But Ty was huge. Love Ty Chandler, and he's getting better every single time he goes and plays. And that's going to be huge for Aaron. It's going to be huge. I think both Aaron and Ty are well over 5 yards a carry right now. So I've been really, really pleased with both those guys.
Well, we have a talk back for you. Occasionally, we did a text last week, but we had some people go to the free iHeartRadio app and leave 15 to 30 seconds. Speaking of confidence and poise and a quiet mind, Aaron from Cottage Grove left this.
What's up, guys? Hey, Coach O'Connell. I just had a question from more of a psychological, analytical perspective. How do you, as an NFL coach, just remain poised and in the present and calm on the sideline when us as fans on the couch, not even in the stadium with people screaming, my heart's pumping out of my chest. So I just wanted to get your take and perspective on how you remain calm on the sideline and execute. Thank you.
Yeah, that's a great question. And I think there's two parts to that answer. I think the first and foremost is I believe true leadership shows the most poise, the most calm, when the temperature is hottest, when it's
bullets are flying,
when the bullets are flying, when the moment of the game, if you allow that to overcome your ability to make good decisions, ability to ultimately be a calming presence for your football team, that'll have a negative effect. It may not always. The guys might be able to overcome my lack of poise if I were to show that, and I got a lot of confidence in our guys, but that is definitely part of it. But then the other part of it is when you have that button on your belt where you can talk directly to the quarterback, if I, as the play caller, portray any kind of franticness or stress, or that all travels through that headset to the quarterback. And I just believe wholeheartedly my job in those moments, specifically when we're on offense and I'm talking to Sam, he needs to hear confidence. He needs to hear poise. he needs to hear that the guy calling plays is calling plays with the utmost amount of belief in him, because that can be a really powerful thing. And I've experienced it the other way. Maybe it was my playing career when I'd hear a play call come into the headset. I guess we're just going to try some go balls here. Just go ahead and give it a shot. We don't think you're going to hit it, but yeah, go ahead and call it. I want to make sure that a quarterback that plays for me never feels like that.
Wow.
And I believe in what we're going to call. And the preparation would be, I guess it's a three-prong approach then.
Right.
The preparation's what's allows you to feel like that. I know what I'm calling. I know what I'm seeing. I'm trying to attack as the 12th member of our offense when I'm calling plays. Doesn't always work out, but we put a heck of a lot of time in to make sure we give ourselves better than good chances for it to work out. Great question, though.
Is it nerve-wracking? Right before you got in here, I was chatting with Ben Gessling from the Star Tribune, and we were chatting about Sam Darnold. And I'm like, well, if you don't trust your quarterback, you don't go play action out of the end zone. I mean, that's just kind of simplistically speaking, I put it like that. And O'Neal had to give Bosa, well done there, MVP on that play. But so is it nerve-wracking running play action out of the end zone, period, no matter if you have Brady, Darnold, or whomever?
Oh, yeah, because part of play calling is not just scheming and designing plays versus, matchups and things like that. You're also playing the game within the game versus your counterpart on the other sideline. They just, we had just run a run and I told myself going into that first run, if we get 2 yards, I'm calling this thing. Yeah. Because what I wanted them to think is, hey, we just stuffed to run. They're going to try to get themselves a little bit of room to punt that ball, from the shadow of their own goalpost right there. So I didn't necessarily know exactly how it would materialize, but I thought we would get single high, which would elicit the look that I was hunting. And then also there was a chance for possibly a backer fire zone, which, for fans out there, that was Fred Warner running through the A-gap. And when that happened, the integrity of the underneath coverage is now lost. Wow. I knew we would at least have Jalen Nailor, hopefully in rhythm. And then obviously I had, prepped this thing off of a look we had run last year, where if Jets had a step, that ball was going up. Yeah. Didn't necessarily know it would be 97 yards, but, that play was getting called in the game, and especially in that situation, sometimes they jump out at the call sheet. They jump right off at you. Those are the ones where I don't tell anybody before I'm doing it, because I don't want the more conservative types on the headset. I won't mention any names to start screaming out, hey, coach, this could happen, that could happen. I'd rather not put that, Ricky Bobby said it, don't you put that on me, Ricky Bobby, or whatever it was. I don't let our coaches do that sometimes. Other times they know when I'm asking for some help, and they're always ready to go.
So wait, you're living dangerously here. I mean, you got Bosa you're play action out of the end zone with Bosa singled and Fred Warner on a blitz, and your quarterback has to step up and throw a 50-some-odd yard dime, and it all worked. But you got the look, like you said.
Yeah, and the thing was, it's kind of that risk reward. If they send the backer, I know it's going to be open, but I also know Bosa's going to be singled up, because if they don't send the backer, Ed Ingram's going to help on Bosa. Fans should go back and take a look at that play. Really, two other performances on that play. Aaron Jones really helping Ed Ingram. Kind of got a quick inside move from the D tackle, and Aaron, all 180 pounds of him kind of fits up that D tackle and keeps him from penetrating, allowing Sam to step up. And then Garrett Bradbury, ends up running his, Fred Warner blitzing that A gap. He ends up running him past Sam so Sam could step up. There was an unbelievable effort. We were ready for the corner to potentially add in off the backside. That's one of those plays that goes down where you can stand up in front of the team like I did yesterday and say, this does not happen without all 11 guys on the field doing their job, knowing exactly what to do in a critical moment of the game. Wow. And that's how you beat a team like the San Francisco 49ers. You're going to have to make some plays just like that to be able to do it.
And the reaction on the sideline, as the ball was in the air. I mean, in looking back at some things, now I understand the A to the B to the C to the D, and you got the whole thing to work, including a couple of safeties on Justin, where you eventually, but it has to play action, step up, wait, safeties on 18. He's going to get behind him, and he did. That's fascinating how you laid that out. This is Kevin O'Connell, head coach of the Minnesota Vikings, X's and O's, 9 to noon each and every Tuesday. How much with your defense And like Gilmore, just got here like a month ago or whatever. And Griffin was here, but then he got hurt. So he was down for like a month or whatever. But your rush, how much is your rush being as good and unpredictable as it is, helping Gilmore, Griffin, and maybe some others get up to speed, get acclimated, get the football legs?
Yeah, I think it's huge. We always talk about rush and coverage working together, but what I think you're seeing, more oftentimes than not, I know our defense has generated a lot of pressures. Doesn't always equal sacks, but it generates uncomfortable quarterbacks. And we've seen it in 2 games now where there may be some things kind of materializing down the field, some manipulators of coverage. There's a lot of good coaches in this league. But if that quarterback gets moved off the spot and he can't step into throws and he can't push the ball down the field based upon what platform we've forced him to move with, that can be a winning edge to where truly the back end and the front end are really working together. And I've just seen it. I think Flo and his staff are doing a tremendous job. You saw Cash on a stunt away from kind of where Grenard and all these other guys are. We're sending Cash and we're getting a pick stunt for him to go get a sack. Obviously Ginkle and Grenard's the guy that keeps jumping out at me because so many people focus on sacks.
Wow.
And he's been affecting the quarterback basically every drive we've had since his tenure here started with the Vikings. He's 2 games in, ton of quarterback pressures, unique moves, strain, finish, and he hasn't quite gotten that finish where he gets a guy on the ground yet, but he's probably contributed to about 5, 6, 7 drives ending right there just by his own personal performance, forcing a throwaway or an inaccurate throw because it's either too early or off the spot. So want to continue to see him do those things, and the results of sacks, which are important, will start showing up for JG, but he's been phenomenal for us.
Okay, now, by the way, we are playing the Texans this weekend at noon, and they have some good players, and they're undefeated.
Yep.
That in a moment. Kevin talked about Jefferson yesterday. Assumingly it's still a day-to-day. Got to get to Wednesday, see how things work. Okay, cool.
He's doing well, though. He is doing really well,
Right.
and he's responded really well to treatment early on.
Yeah.
We'll see how his week kind of progresses.
The difference between a head coach into a microphone and the announcer into the microphone is, the way I put it is, he ain't missing the Diggs game. So that's it. Justin's not missing the Diggs game.
I wouldn't discount the Stingley aspect of it either.
What do you mean?
Those two, the LSU side of
LSU.
things, and he's becoming one
Derek
of the premier.
Stingley Jr., third overall pick in 2022. Of course, he picked off Caleb. All right, okay,
that'll be before the end of the week. That
story
storyline might materialize a little bit between those two guys. I know they're close.
Do we have an 11:30 here? Okay, cool. Last one on the previous game. Van Ginkel almost stole another. He almost went Hal/Daniel Jones on it. This may be an eye roll, but do you think it helped him that he went against the Mike McDaniel offense in Miami, and McDaniel was the offensive coordinator for Shanahan, so they run a lot of the same stuff?
I think so. And I just wouldn't discount Gink's previous experience in Flo's defense either.
Oh, wow.
Of understanding there's only so many answers versus some of the looks that we present to people. So Gink's seen every bubble screen known to man. He's seen every flare pass to the halfback. He's seen it all, and he can feel the body language of the quarterback. That was unique because Brock was underneath the center, and he still got to play his run fit, run responsibility, critical down right there, and he just feels it and reacts. He almost got another one, and that would have been even more impressive just because of some of those factors I was talking about than the Giants play that he made. But what an impact he's had on our team, and it's not just in between the white lines. He makes us smarter, makes us tougher, more instinctive, and it just kind of pairs with the Harrys and the Metellus, Cash, and the rest of our guys to fly around and play fast with a ton of juice. Man, it's been awesome.
It would have been a longer one than the one at MetLife, and it also was in the second half. So hopefully it would have gotten there given you had the air conditioning turned up. Given how hot it was in there with the doors open on the west side, and certain players got gassed. All right, Danielle Hunter, how's he getting along? And how's he getting along with Will Anderson Jr. as the bookender?
Yeah, these guys are – Danielle's playing fast. I mean, any fan could watch that game the other night and see – 55 flying around the field, affecting the quarterback, gets, sacks. He's going to generate pressures. You got to have a plan for him. It's not all that much different than what we just came out of the other day. where we had to know where 97 was at all times. It's going to be the same way with 55 in this game. We know him. I know he's going to be fired up, ready to come back to U.S. Bank Stadium. And Will Anderson happens to be, a pretty premier player himself on the other side. They're a really fast, young defense. They've got a ton of playmakers at the second level. Jimmy Wards and Petrie, these guys know how to tackle. They're instinctive. This is going to be a heck of a challenge for our football team. We've got to play well in all three phases. We can give them nothing and hopefully have a chance to go get our second win at U.S. Bank Stadium, third of the season. I cannot emphasize enough how important playing at home is to me personally
Big time.
and our team this year based upon last year. We're never looking backwards, but we just know how good we have it with the best fans in football, best home environment in football. We got to keep that going because we know we keep building upon this success. Our fans are only going to get louder and louder and louder, and we're going to get this thing rolling.
So has Nico Collins always been beastly good, just unbelievable like this?
He has, you go back to, I studied him a lot coming out. He was always the big body, kind of contested catcher. I mean, this guy has really developed his route running, runs the whole stem, in-breakers, out-breakers. He's as competitive as they come. He's really come on there. I think they've done a great job with him.
Last one. What were the chess matches like with D'Amico, the 2 years you were in L.A. and he was in San Francisco?
Yeah, you know that they're going to be incredibly sound from a standpoint of how they build their scheme. It's not going to be overly complicated, and then all of a sudden you come to the line one time and it's more than complicated. You're worrying about people so much during the game and the simplicity of a defense, one man, one gap kind of defense, and then he can throw something at you at any point in time. So going back there, we got to be careful not to have too much inventory in the back of our minds to chase ghosts all day, but we got to be ready for just about everything that they can throw at us. And this is a really good defense, PA. A lot of speed on the field. We're going to have to play as physical and fast. That was the other thing I liked about the other day. It felt like we were playing fast to go along with the physicality we saw. So going to need all that and then some. Really good football team coming in this week.
Terrific. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Kevin O'Connell, X's and O's, and 9 to noon at KFAN and Vikings.com. Back after this.